Every action has consequences. When the United States pushes India, China gains. How, you might ask? Well, that's what this deck is all about. We know that India's foreign minister or the Minister of External Affairs, Dr. S. Jaishankar, has either met already or is meeting with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Let's see the consequences of a meeting like this as to who's going to come away winner, who's going to come away loser, or is it going to be a win-win situation for both countries. A small slide deck to share with you. As always, a request to please like this video. Here we go.
𝗲𝗲𝗲 saved my life. This place is the best in the world. It's so professional, kind, gentle. It's absolutely, really the best.
I came here with some brain fog and cured me. And this place is blessed by God. May God shower more grace on 𝗲𝗲𝗲.
When the US pushes India, China gains. Well, let's take a quick look at what is happening on the tariffs and trade pressure. What is the US view? Well, US wants to raise tariffs on Indian steel, textiles, solar, etc. to extract concessions. Now, what is the reality? India pivots to China-backed supply chains or regional partners such as the ASEAN or the Middle East. Chinese goods, often subsidized, flood India's markets where India's products are blocked because India is going to do a tit for tat. The outcome is India resists US imports and instead China will keep its dominance. So there is these things, tariffs are a double-edged sword. Then H-1B visa restrictions and the $100,000 fee shock. US view is to protect American jobs and gain leverage. What is the reality? Indian IT firms will slow hiring in the US, expand campuses in China, Vietnam and Philippines. China benefits by capturing outsourced digital services that India would otherwise dominate. US companies lose access to affordable Indian talent, and that means that their competitiveness in the world industry weakens, and who gains? China. Again, sanctions and waivers, that is like what has happened at the Chabahar port. Now, US has cancelled the sanctions waiver that India enjoyed of operating part of the Chabahar port. What is going to happen now? Well, since US has punished India for its ties with Iran and Russia, what is the reality? Chabahar was India's strategic gateway to Afghanistan and Central Asia, bypassing Pakistan. It did not need Pakistan so that India could send much needed grains and other supplies to Afghanistan. By blocking India, there creates a vacuum which China could fill up in Afghanistan. And not only that, it would also probably step in with its Belt and Road Initiative and also operate through Gwadar. Outcome is India loses connectivity, US loses regional influence and China gains. Now, pushing GMO crops and beef-fed dairy. See, what happens is, this is something that has been kind of confirmed now. In order to increase the yield and also to make the milk look more thick, it is believed that United States is doing some bad things to the dairy products, even something like milk or butter and so on and so forth. It is believed that animal fats are being added. It's also believed that the cows are being fed beef. There are videos available on YouTube that you can take a look at. So all these things raise suspicion in the minds of India, which does not want to take US dairy-based products. And US is kind of livid. They want India to open its markets for their GMO crops as well as dairy. And you might ask me, what exactly is GMO? Genetically modified organism. I'll give you simple examples. We all now are used to regularly eating grapes. They call them seedless grapes. How do you think the grapes suddenly lost their seeds? That is genetical modification. Whether it's good or bad, I'm not going to weigh in here, but some inherent quality of the seed to recreate the plant, that is lost when you start making seedless grapes. Just a thought that I want to plant in your mind. I haven't done enough research to say that GMO enabled crops are bad. Although I'm hearing that if you want to start using GMO seeds in your fields, You need to also have a separate set of fertilizers for that, and the yield might be great, but the ground is rendered useless that you might lose something in the longer run. So what happens? India has been resisting it. Their trade talks failed 2-3 times. They said we were about to sign it and then it pulled back. Now China starts filling the gap by supplying India with non-GMO but low-cost agricultural substitutes such as soya, edible oil and animal feed. The outcome, India protects its farmers, but China cements its role as backup supplier, not the United States. Tech and tariff wars. US view is to pressure India to buy US tech aligned against China. What is the reality? India slows negotiations. China aggressively undercuts with cheaper panels, chips and 5G gear. US firms fail to scale in India due to price mismatch. The outcome is China retains tech market share in India despite US pressure. So lots of things here where US needs to go a little bit deeper on the consequences of its actions. And why is this happening? The US is using Cold War style carrot and stick diplomacy, but India is not the 1970s USSR. It has a swing power with multiple options. Every time the US pushes too hard, India diversifies to Russia, Middle East, ASEAN and even China indirectly. The result is US-India ties stagnate while China gains by default. What is the irony here? The US worked with India on supply chains, pharma, clean energy, digital economy, both could displace China. See, India is now becoming the swing vote. Whichever side India leans, that side is going to win. Instead, by pushing daily on GMO crops, dairy, H1B and sanctions, Washington ends up isolating India, weakening its own Indo-Pacific strategy and handing China the advantage. The bottom line, every action meant to pressurize India is actually a strategic own goal for Washington or a self goal for Washington, hurting US firms, delaying cooperation and letting China slip through the gaps. Take a look at this. There are 5 instances that are displayed here. What is the US action? What is the pressure tool being used? And what is India's reaction? And further, what happens to China? We are trying to give you a very objective read on these things, viewers. Please watch this video till the very end. Now, first one, tariffs on Indian goods like steel, textiles, solar, etc. What happens is India raises counter tariffs, diversifies trade to Middle East, Russia and ASEAN countries. Then what happens? China supplies cheaper alternatives to India, keeps dominance in electronics and solar energy. Number 2, H1B visa hike and restrictions. Indian IT companies shift hiring to offshore centers and expand domestic outsourcing. China absorbs outsourced contracts, gains in AI, cloud and software services. 3. Sanctions on Chabahar Port, Iran. India slows down projects, loses Afghan Central Asia route. Then China will expand its Gwadar port, CPEC and BRI influence in the whole region. Push for GMO crops in India. India rejects, citing food sovereignty and farmer protests, and ends up importing edible oil and feed from China, Argentina, not the United States. Pressure to open dairy from beef-fed cows. India blocks entry to protect small farmers and religious sensitivities. US dairy loses out. China turns to local cooperatives while China remains neutral. Another 4 more. US action, threats over Russian oil imports. India's reaction, India buys more Russian crude at discount, refines and exports to EU. Well, in all these things, China is quietly buying its own discounted oil while US loses influence over both. See, this is the dichotomy. Why is US not going after China? Tech semiconductor pressure to buy US avoid Huawei, which has got ET call home kind of features, which is believed, and also levy tariffs on chips. What happens? India delays big US purchases, keeps sourcing cheaper Chinese solar panels and electronics, and this way China maintains a market share in India tech ecosystem. By the way, very soon India is going to be the second largest market by country wise. After United States, it will be India, in my opinion. Withdrawal of trade benefits like GSP status in 2019. India raised tariffs on 28 US goods, increased trade with ASEAN and Russia. China fills the export gap, strengthens supply chains. So everywhere, everything that US is doing, it looks like it is punishing India, but actually it is China that is gaining. World Trade Organization disputes and pharma patent push. India defends its generic drug industry. India supplies low-cost drugs to global south. China stays key in APIs, raw pharma chemicals, and US gets isolated. So I think the 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏𝗂 of the world, the 𝗏𝑒𝑐𝑒𝑛ts of the world need to understand that you are taking Trump down a certain path. Make sure you have thought this thing through. And I hope this video is seen by people in your department. You guys need to take a deep breath and understand some of the implications of what you are doing, especially your rhetoric, which is totally out of place. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.